It's the Jef Clo Podcast show. And when we turn the mics on, there's a silly kind of flow, cause it's the Jef Clo Podcast show. Oh, it's Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo and Jef and Clo. And just in case you didn't remember, it's Jef and Clo. Jef and Clo.
All right, welcome to episode number 3. Ooh, Dave, are you excited?
I am so excited. 3 has always been one of my top 3 favorite numbers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Beatles had a song like 3 is the podcastliest number that we've ever done. That was probably clearly we need to do the name that lyric.
You know, that wasn't the song and that wasn't the band either. That was Three Dog Night and 1.
Oh, well,
the loneliest number. Fail. Yeah,
you know
talk
what?
about me. Hey, how did I do last week? Did I end up failing that or was I?
Actually, you're right. We did not actually. We got diverted on the Great Space Coaster. You actually won. Unfortunately, you succeeded with 4 out of 7.
Yeah. Which ones did I not get credit for?
You did not get credit for Enter Sandman, for the Poison song, and for Maroon 5.
Okay. I'll take that.
But I set you up easy on that one. I'm not going to go so easy.
Are we doing this again today?
No, we're not doing this again today.
Okay, good. I'll have time to study up every song that's ever been written.
Perfect. You have 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week. I'll listen to every lyric I can. All right.
So we want to remind everybody that this is a weekly podcast, and we will be putting these out every Monday, so you can go find them on Mondays as we've torn down the fourth wall and let everyone know in the second episode. We're recording this on a Thursday. It may not always be on a Thursday, but that seems to be the best night for Dave and I. No gigs, no Memphis work for Dave.
Correct. And you say and.
And
so, being that we're distance apart, it's kind of tricky, with the timing over the phone is a little bit delayed. So you'll hear us stepping on each other's lines every now and then.
Yeah.
But it adds to the humor, I think.
I think sometimes we just step on each other's lines because
on purpose.
We don't respect each other, yes.
Yes.
That's okay.
I don't respect us either.
Okay, well, that makes 2 of us. So, for transparency, which we like to do for the audience.
It's best for everyone.
But we are trying something new this week, where in the past, and all of the previous 2 episodes of the Jef Clo Podcast show, as Dave likes to tack on. We have done this through phone call only, but we are now attempting this through Skype.
Yes, so we're looking at each other as we talk, which is kind of bad.
Yeah, so if you hear me dry heave at any point in the podcast, it's simply I've had my quota of Dave's face.
Or you caught a reflection in your phone glare.
I'm a pretty boy.
You are pretty.
No, don't say that. You're
pretty and witty and bright.
When you say that, well, that's true.
As in reflective.
The last. So again, podcast number 3, as we mentioned last week.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4, yes. Next week is the last one. So what was the point of mentioning it'll be weekly? Wrong. We're shooting for 3,000.
No, I meant out of the pretty, witty, and bright, you were 3 out of 4.
Oh.
Witty and bright, as in reflective.
Yes, not pretty.
Yeah.
All right, I accept that.
Okay.
But as I mentioned last week, we were hoping to be on Spotify and iTunes by the time episode 2 dropped. Of course, we were on SoundCloud to begin with. We did manage to be on Spotify. Like, they approved us on Monday, so it was like perfect timing. iTunes. Well, you have something to say, Dave?
No, I'm just practicing leaning into my mic.
Okay. Unfortunately, now that I can see you,
I know that's bad. You keep
Right.
going. You keep going.
Okay.
I do want to say I'm proud of you for getting it done.
Oh, right. Thank you. But yeah, iTunes, well, speaking of being proud of me getting it done, let me correct you. Because iTunes, I had after we released the first episode, I went and submitted the RSS feed, and apparently I had it in a ready to submit state, and I didn't actually click the submit button.
Oh,
so I
Jeff.
went on Monday to see, is it ready? And it just, nothing was there. It was like, well, what did I do before? So I had to completely resubmit to iTunes. And luckily, it only took about 2 days for them to approve it. I can't say resubmit because I would have had to submit the first time.
So I take away your proud of you token.
Thank you. You have every right to do so.
I'm shaking my head in disgust.
I see that.
Yeah.
But we are on iTunes, and I think we've only been on iTunes like 24 hours so far with episode 2, and we are already up to over 50
Million?
listens on iTunes. No, unfortunately.
Oh.
So we want to ask everyone, if you are an Apple user and you are listening to this on Spotify or SoundCloud, shut it down, go to iTunes, because Dave and I are trying to get ourselves into the new and noteworthy section of iTunes, which is...
Because we know that we're new and noteworthy, especially new. We know that.
Right. Well,
So-
and if you take notes, then we're noteworthy. So I
Yes.
also implore all of you to take out a pen and paper.
Yes, please do.
Take notes, because we will be quizzing you.
And there's some really good information coming up, right?
Is there? Oh, yeah.
Well, probably not, but
Okay.
I'm supposed to say that, right?
Yeah. So before we get into this, speaking of podcast number 2, we had we saw something in Facebook today. A lady named Linda Gilligan, and I believe no relation to Skipper.
No, Skipper was not Gilligan. Gilligan was Gilligan.
I know, but I think they had a little bit of a relationship going on that was unspoken, kind of like Bert and Ernie.
No.
Didn't they take baths together?
No.
Not Gilligan and Skipper, but Bert and Ernie.
You got to wonder, though, why Gilligan didn't go for Marianne or Ginger.
Well,
You know.
I mean, he was not the professor by any stretch of the imagination. When you're on an island with the professor and you have those two,
Those poor girls, their options were limited.
Well, but they had the professor. What limit
Yeah, but
is there?
he was such a nerd, though.
Well, but okay, fine.
Which
but yeah,
one,
we do want to.
well, while we're here, Marianne or Ginger?
Me?
Yeah.
That's tough.
No, it's not.
Which one was the movie star?
Ginger, come on.
Carrie Ann.
Oh,
There you go.
Carrie
See,
Ann.
yes.
Oh,
See, there you go. Yes.
You're special
Yes,
lady
that
friend.
is the correct answer.
I was kind of into Mrs. Howell. Just to be different.
Dave's a fan of Dust.
She was cool.
No, she was actually kind of funny. She was a bit like the Mrs. Roper of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Now, if only Mr. Howe, if Thurman Howe had looked into the camera. Thurston?
Thurston Howell.
Oh, whatever.
Thurston Howell the third.
I was thinking of Thurman's here in Ohio with their famous sandwiches
Yeah, that totally relates.
and burgers.
now you got me hungry.
But let's get back to Linda. We've been on a long tangent about Gilligan's Island. Yeah, they'll kill us.
All right,
this is why we can never get you guys to a 45-minute episode.
We're trying.
But Linda apparently was trying to load our podcast on her phone while she was in the car driving to work prior to 6:30 a.m. And apparently she has a magnet, I don't know what this is, that holds her phone. It failed.
Dropped it.
Yes, she
And
dropped
then
it.
People, what happened, though? Did she get arrested or something?
She tried to pick up the... No, she didn't get
I think
arrested.
she's in prison now.
Well, she's not listening to episode 3 then. Hopefully she's getting a Jef Clo tattoo with like a guitar string right now. But yeah, she dropped her phone, and when she was trying to retrieve it, I think she accidentally hit the emergency
that's right.
number.
Yes.
Yeah, and so she had to speak to someone to tell them I'm fine, but now all of her emergency contacts are being notified that she may have been abducted, and she was getting calls from people to make sure she was okay. There were other people that just never bothered to call her, even though they're part of her emergency contacts.
See, that's what she thinks happened. Actually, when you listen to the Jef and Clo podcast, it calls all your emergency numbers for you and lets them know
that you're not okay.
that you're not okay.
You have been abducted by the podcast.
You've got problems.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a few people that are dear to us that are Jef and Clo fans that commented on Linda's post. We had Lisa Gordish, who...
Yeah. Can I tell you about Lisa?
Yes, please tell me.
So a year ago, these three sisters were going to get on the Buckeye Cruise for cancer. And years ago, I took this memory course that's supposed to help you have better memory. And I'm terrible with names. I'm so terrible. And I can never remember to use the memory tricks in the course. So finally, we were just sitting there. I just met them, and I thought, I'm gonna use these tricks or whatever. So there was three sisters, and the youngest one was named Lisa.
This sounds like a Disney story.
It will be someday when I sell the rights. So I said, I'm going to think little, and I told them what I'm doing. I said, I'm going to think of you as little Lisa because you're the youngest one. The next older one was named Michelle, so I'm like, I'm going to think of you as middle Michelle. So that worked. And then the oldest one's name was Sherry, and I was kind of like, man, what do I come up with for Sherry? So
you're gonna have to bleep yourself on this one, but go ahead and say it.
I'm gonna go PG, and I was like, crap together Sherry, because the oldest one's always got their crap together, right? So, but it was the SH version of that, and
such a dirty word.
I know, it's terrible, but the point was, it's stupid, but a year later, I remembered their names and remembered who was who. And I was like, gosh, this stuff works. I wish I would just remember to work a little memory trick in my mind, and then I wouldn't keep forgetting your name, George.
Well, George.
Oh, Jeff, I mean. No, but so this year on the ship, 1 year later, they had shirts that said something about sisters on the front, but on the back it had little Lisa, middle Michelle, and beep together Sherry.
Right, and I saw those shirts, and that's how actually I was essentially introduced to them.
So it was little Lisa that said, fess up, you were listening to the Jef and Clo podcast, weren't you? And,
yes, and she claimed that my big words caused Linda to drop the phone, yes. And then
hey, you want to give us...
Mindy chimed in.
Oh yeah, Mindy.
You want a new big word? It'll happen naturally. Don't worry.
Yeah, let's not force it.
Let me.
Let's not try to expedite it.
Oh,
that didn't really work, did it?
No, I don't think that really worked that well.
Didn't work.
Let me postulate on this a little bit.
Big
word. So I think actually last week when
I liked it better when you couldn't see me, because I would lean in and go, big word, and away from my phone so you couldn't hear me.
And I didn't know.
And you'd be surprised when you heard the podcast later.
That's okay. But I think what happened, that was, not a planned bit, and I said the big word, and you basically said this is a new bit on the show.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, listening back, I realized I think what you wanted me to do was almost like a Pee-wee's Playhouse, where I was going to use the same word multiple times throughout the course of the podcast. I did not pick up on that.
My plan was that I had no plan, so it didn't matter whether you used it again or not. But
that's a very Monty Python thing of you to say. Rule 5 is that is no rule 5. Oh, I love Monty Python.
You shall not. What was it? Count
I don't know.
3, unless to proceed on to 4. I don't know.
Yeah, you probably
Something
butchered
like
that.
The Holy Hand Grenade.
Yeah, pretty bad.
No, that was perfect.
Was that right? Okay.
That was the original way before the movie.
But yeah, so after Linda posted that, we had Lisa chime in. Then Mindy said, if you tag them, maybe they will include this in the podcast. Miss Ann Muscati Bowman also chimed in as well.
Well, Jeff and I have talked about it. We haven't completely agreed 100% that we will mention you in our podcast. So we're still thinking about it. It's possible, but maybe next week.
But yes, thank you, ladies, for talking about us. And now all of you listeners know that if you tag Jef and Clo with an interesting story about listening to the podcast, you might make it on to the next week's podcast.
Yeah, and just think, in a year or two, when this is the biggest thing since sliced butter, you know, yeah, and we won't be able to mention everyone, and you'll be a part of our forever history.
That is true. And speaking of episode 1, I went back and listened to it because it's been a while, and I will say, Dave, that episode number 2, we really stepped it up. I felt like it was coming together, and we sounded like podcasters. I'm afraid we're going to make people's head explode with episode number 3.
And maybe we should hold back a little bit. Can we talk about all your sports failures again?
No,
I'm just
we're not going back to sports failures.
Those were the funniest things. If you didn't listen to episode 2, listen to Jeff's stories. Just wish I could have been there.
Yeah, you were asking for the video of that, and I'm glad there is none for the sake of my dignity and pride.
You have no pride at this point.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out, so something for anybody who's been a repeat listener for the first 2 episodes, you may notice a weird
co-host
thing that gets thrown in, because in the first episode, I couldn't think of what I wanted to say, or I couldn't remember something. And I said, brain fart.
Yeah.
And Dave, you just loved that, and you took it and you sampled it and you put a bunch of effects on it. So if you hear moving forward this weird going on behind us while we're talking, that is brain fart. And how do we spell brain fart, Dave? This is how weird we are.
Brain is normal, like BRAINE
right.
AUGH. No, normal brain. And then FFEART.
Yes. Well, there's 2 F's because we can only have one single F on the show, which is Jeff.
Yes,
but yes,
right.
Fjart.
Like heart. Spelled like heart, but with 2 F's. Well, somebody told me that it makes them think that we're talking about gas, which is, of course, not what we're talking about.
No, I mean, I think anybody who's heard the term brain fart. And now, you did point out that when I said artsy fartsy last week, that I am the latter half. So maybe that's what they were thinking about with the gas.
I've been around you enough to know. No.
Oh, I have.
No, he has no flatulence problem. Hey, how's that for a big word, Jeff?
There you go.
The challenge is on.
Ding yourself, Dave. Ding yourself.
Ding, ding,
ding.
The
challenge is on.
No, I'm not challenging you.
That's okay. I'm sure I'll find a big word before the podcast is over. Don't worry. Or okay. Multiple. As a matter of fact, we got later in the podcast, you just stopped buzzing me because
I stopped. There
were so many.
I realized that I forgot so many, and then I also missed one ding for 2nd and 7.
Yes. Well, that's okay.
Every time you mentioned them, I dinged, and then there was one mentioned later. I was like,
I gotcha.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh well.
As an editor, you can't sleep at night thinking about those things.
Right. And speaking of not sleeping at night,
segue.
So Dave, really quick, tell us a little bit about this gig that you have in Memphis. So let's just go ahead and set up what you do.
I knew.
And then we're going to get into your adventure this week with Greyhound bus travels.
Oh boy. Okay, so I teach at a college downtown Memphis.
What's the college?
It's a place where kids come together and they learn from teachers that we call professors.
I didn't say what's a college. I said what's the college.
The college is Ohio State University.
That's not
the
true.
Ohio State University.
It's not where the Ohio State University is not Memphis.
Oh no!
Yes.
I thought you said what's the college.
Goodness.
You didn't ask what college are you teaching at in Memphis. You said what's the college.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
See. Yeah.
All
anyway,
good job.
I'm teaching in Memphis at a school called Visible Music College. It's in a really cool building right downtown, right across the street from the Memphis Cardinals baseball stadium. It's just really cool.
You know, I actually got a job 2 years ago at the Invisible Music College, and unfortunately, I never made it to work the first day, and they just called me and fired me. It was awful.
Couldn't find the place.
That was bad.
You were driving around forever looking for the place.
That's right. Let's not continue to perpetuate this. There you go. There's your big word. Perpetuate. Let's not perpetuate this horrible joke.
Yes. Okay. So it's just a few blocks from Beale Street, the famous Beale Street, home of the blues. All the blues players are playing and all kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. I drive out there, and they gave me a dorm room so I can come and go as I please.
And you can hang up like black lights and Jimi Hendrix posters because you're living in a dorm.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Right.
But it's not like a dorm room where the bathroom's down the hall or anything. I actually have my own bathroom, so that's kind of nice. So anyway, no, it's a great location right downtown. The drive was so hard. So I thought to myself, well, let's try the bus just once and see what that's like. So I got the app, and I'm looking at Greyhound bus app, and
let me tell you that I warned you against the bus, okay? I don't know if you remember a phone conversation where you said, I'm going to try this, and I said...
You're giving away the end right now.
No, I'm just saying...
You're giving
away anything. I just want to let you know that I said taking a bus over being in your car is a bad idea. But go ahead. Please continue your story.
So I waited till I found a weekend that was the least expensive, because I didn't want it to be like, a lot more than driving. I bought a ticket for a few weeks in advance, and so this last weekend was the bus weekend.
Oh, boy.
My bus was leaving around 10 and getting into... 10 p.m. and getting in around 2 a.m. And when I bought the ticket, it was showing the bus station being right by the school, like I literally could walk. And so between buying the ticket and then before, a few weekends of drove up, and I figured out that the bus station has moved over by the airport. So
that's a shame.
now I've got to add Uber costs.
So now you have to figuratively walk. You can't literally walk there.
No, now I have to pay someone to drive me.
Uber.
To and from the airport.
Speaking of which, Uber, if you want to advertise, sales@jeffandclo.com.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
And Lyft, too. Well, might as well, because, it may have been Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
It's like whoever comes first, that's what you call it. Like Coca-Cola when you're drinking a Pepsi.
Right.
Which I would never do. But anyway, so now it's like, oh gosh, now I'm adding, at least like $30 onto the price, the whole price, and just getting from the airport to the school, and time. Well, I get to the bus station, and it's nasty and gross and horrible, and
shocker.
Oh yeah, all kind of people asking me for money and stuff, and I'm just like, no. This trip is already above the budget I wanted to spend on it. So the bus ended up being delayed 3.5 hours. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is they don't tell you it's delayed 3.5 hours, and then if you ask any question, the person without a mic would just back up a few steps and yell at the top of their lungs in this echo chamber to answer this question for everyone. But they would turn their head to the left, and you could hear part of the sentence, and then they turn their head to the right, and then all you could hear is, "Hey, please, and you'll say and you're like, what? What did they say? I still got to ask the question again. So did you say how long it was going to be? And then it'd be like, the bus 1402. And you're like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. So you're just trying to watch the little screen and stuff. Anyway, so eventually it was 3.5 hours. Long story longer, I ended up getting to my dorm room at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh.
Tired as I could be. I could have driven it and driven back.
And then what happened on the way home, Dave?
Oh, seems like the bus was delayed 3.5 hours again. Again, the 3.5. I mean, they weren't exact amount of time.
So what are you going to be doing this week? Are you taking the bus again?
Yeah, I'm going to try it 2 more times and average it out.
Oh,
No.
Dave, you're out.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay,
I
was
will
gonna say.
never. Hashtag never again.
Hashtag never again. And when, Dave, you and I spoke briefly when you were letting me know about the delay on the way back. I already knew about the delay on the way there. And you're like, well, I said, well, let's talk about this on the podcast. You were afraid to,
Say anything
bring
bad
up
about-
Greyhound. Right. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Well,
Let's
I
just
don't
go
think they're
for
going to
it.
be an advertiser. If we eliminate Greyhound as one of our potential advertisers, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and they especially won't now. Although they might be, hey, 3.5 hours. So you had a good experience.
Well, let me say if Greyhound wants to advertise, it's schmales at jeffandclo.com. Schmales with an
Schmale.
extra silent 4. Yes, like Judge Schmales from Caddyshack.
The four is always silent. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was just so mad because again I got home at like 3 a.m. And the whole point was I thought maybe I can get some work done. I'll have my laptop with me and I'll do stuff. Well, no, the seats are so freaking crowded. I couldn't even put my shoulder all the way against the seat back.
Really,
you know?
on a public bus, it wasn't comfortable
Yeah,
and enjoyable.
I was picturing one of those private buses that you rent, and it's kind of like being in first class or something.
You were thinking of when you
Yeah.
used to tour. That's what you were thinking about.
No, because those didn't have seats like that. But like if you rent from a bus company to take a group somewhere, like to
Right.
Disney or something, you're going to be on you have a nice seat that reclines. My seat didn't recline.
You have a
Yeah.
very nice seat, Dave.
Why, thank you. It just
Oh.
doesn't recline. But
That would be weird.
yeah.
Dave's got
So-
a handle on his hip.
And then,
you wanna see
then
my
on
seat recline?
But on the second ride, I finally find the handle and I'm, because it seemed like they were in different places, but the first one just wouldn't go. But the second one, I finally get it to go back, and the guy behind me is like, hey, I got knees back here.
I got knees.
I got knees. I thought, I'll tell her. I said hi. I thought he said niece. But no.
Luckily, you didn't think he said I have needs, or else you would be like thinking, well,
no.
well, it's going to cost you at least
No.
$25, sir.
There would be no
Well,
bus
you
trips.
never know with Greyhound travel. You never know.
It was really. So I was thinking next time I might try riding my bike to Memphis.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that would be quicker and safer.
Are you going to ride a one-speed bike?
We don't call them one speeds, Jeff.
Well,
we learned that in
we're-
episode 1.
Yes, I know. That was callback, Dave. Callback.
I know. Professional, very professional.
Uh-huh. All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry that your bus travel was a nightmare, and I just want to say with all my heart, I told you so.
Yeah. It was
So,
worth
I'm gonna-
it. But now I know for sure.
Right.
Sure. I'll never do
Right.
it again.
Well, I'm glad when you said you were going to try it 2 more times. For a minute, I thought you were serious, so I'm glad that was...
No.
Okay, good.
No,
Good.
no.
I'm going to shift gears.
I don't ever want
Oh,
to
sorry.
see either of those bus stations ever again in my life.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You walk into the bathroom and the mirrors are steamed up and there's not a shower in there.
Actually, both bus stations were halfway decent. They had their pluses and minuses, but the Nashville one had no one who would talk to you and give you information. A few people that were standing around that had the right outfit on, I would ask them, "Hey, do you know anything?" And they'd be like, "No, I just got on duty. I don't know anything.
Duty.
I just started working. My shift just started. I don't know what's going on."
I don't know what's going on.
So you have worked there.
I just got here 4 minutes ago.
There's people that would stand in line like is this us? Are we going now? Are we going now for 3.5 hours? Like with this eager look on their face, holding their
That
baggage.
was you.
No,
you
that
called
wasn't.
me to complain about the situation,
Okay.
and when I think things were finally getting sorted out, I'm hearing you talking to other people going, is this us? Is this Memphis? Where's this going? Is this us? Okay, Jeff, I gotta go. I think we're actually getting on the bus. All right, well.
You called me out on that one.
Yes, I did. All right, so as I was about to say, I was going to shift gears. So around Christmas time, this is a complete change of subject. I bought something called the Oculus Go, it's a virtual reality headset. Doesn't need to be plugged in. I know it's huge. Well, it's not physically huge. It's relatively comfortable on one's face.
Say what?
So my son and I, Christmas Day, I downloaded this app called Face Your Fears, and it's really creepy because you're like, there's snakes. So you're in a room and there's snakes all over you, and you feel like they're all over you. There's one that simulates heights.
Are there buses? Is there one with buses?
I think they should absolutely make a Dave's Greyhound experience segment for Face Your Fears.
Okay.
But there's spiders. There's actually one that's themed with Stranger Things, the TV show on Netflix. Netflix, if you want to advertise, or Oculus, which is owned by Facebook. Sales at
jefandclo.com.
I'm such.
You're good at this. You're good.
I'm starting to feel a little ashamed. But it made me wonder, I was thinking about, the Oculus, and I don't really do the Face Your Fears because once you do it once, you kind of know what to expect. So the fear
It's not so scary anymore, is it?
Right. But what would be like one of your number one fears that you have? And it doesn't have to be anything that would be on the Face Your Fears game. Maybe it is. And then next time I see you, I'm going to make you do it. What's your biggest fear?
I'm scared of dogs. You're
scared of dogs?
The racing dogs that are neither black nor white. They're somewhere in between.
So gray?
Yeah.
Greyhounds?
Yeah.
Well played.
As in Greyhound bus.
Right. No. I think everybody got that, but thank you for clarifying.
I'm kind of a snake-fearing guy. Don't like snakes. There's something about an animal without arms that can still move that fast.
Right. As Stephen Wright used to say, the comedian, snakes have no arms. That's why they don't wear vests.
Yeah, right. That's got to be it.
Yep. What about heights? How do you feel about heights?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I have some friends, Dave and Lene Bennett.
Okay.
And they were in Columbus down on the campus, and I'd stay with them sometimes, and they were just on the 4th floor and they had this balcony, and they'd like to just go out and hang out on this balcony. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is. At one point, I got something in my mind. I never was afraid of heights, and then all of a sudden one day I was. And it's not even that high. It's just high enough that I would hurt really bad if I fell from
it. I'm terrified of heights, and I actually I trained to get my private pilot license a couple years ago, and I'm okay on roller coasters or airplanes where either someone is in control or I'm strapped in. I would never bungee jump. That's just, for me, that's stupid.
Yep.
I would never skydive. But I can't walk on my roof, even though I'm only 10 feet off the ground. I'm not going to kill myself, but it's that I don't trust myself not to throw myself over the edge. It's a very weird sensation.
That is exactly. I didn't want to put that thought in anyone's mind, but it's that fear that I'm going to snap for a half a second and jump.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like what if I snap? I could die right now.
All right. So, okay. So I know you liked my shameful story of my sports last year. So I'm going to tell you another shameful story.
Can I tell one first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, before I forget. So I was playing with an artist out at Knott's Berry Farm in Anaheim, and a friend of mine and I, the bass player and I, somebody told us after we played or in between shows, we had done a couple of shows, said, we can take you and cut line and just take you right to the front of the line. And so we're like, hey, great, let's do that. And so the two of us are just following this girl that works for the park. And she's taking us right to the front. And we're just talking and talking and talking. You realize that there's a good thing about a line. The line is to help you mentally prepare for what you're about to do. So when you go straight to the front of the line and you're just talking away, and you get to the front of the line and they strap us in this thing, and it's one of these things that just shoots you straight up this pole, and you're in a seat that has no real, like you're just kind of strapped in, but it's like this, it's like a bicycle seat. And we're next to each other and we're talking and all of a sudden we get propelled to 10,000 feet in the air or something like that.
Big words.
Yeah, propelled. Yeah. So we're up there, and all of a sudden, the two of us turn into whimpering little children. We were both like, "Oh my God, what's going on? What are we doing? Why are we here? What?"
How old were you?
Mark Polak, this is true. This is like 10 years ago, so I was like 19.
96?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't even know how.
I'm sure the majority of the crowd, they have the demon drop at Cedar Point here in Ohio, which is very similar. Ratchets you up to the top and then drops you.
Yeah, you have time to think about that, and you're kind of preparing as you're in line. But when you're just talking away and you get ushered right to the front and you get on this thing, and then all of a sudden you're way up in the air going, "What have I done?" Anyway.
Well, I'm glad to know that you behaved like a little girl only 10 years ago.
I did.
Over in a theme park ride.
I'd do it again.
So my story is a little. Hopefully, it just makes you look awful because at least mine was not. I was not tethered to anything. This happened about a year and a half ago. I had a pizza. I was home alone on the weekend, and I had a pizza in the oven, a deep dish pizza,
Big pizza,
which I love deep dish. And I went out to take a bag of trash out to my trash can, and then when I turned the door handle on my garage door to go out to the garage, I must have accidentally locked it behind me. So I don't have any shoes or socks on. It's middle of summer. I go out and go back inside, and I cannot get back into my home. So I know I've got about 5 minutes until the pizza is ready. So now I'm scrambling, running around my house, trying to find an open window. In order to check the windows, I need to get a flathead screwdriver and pry the screens out from the outside. And I'm pushing up on the glass, trying to not push through and cut my hand. And none of the windows are unlocked. Now, I had one window open upstairs to kind of let the breeze in. Unfortunately, I had to climb up on my roof to get in. So I get the ladder out of the garage. I push it up against, this is the front yard. Anyone in my neighborhood can see this.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
I'm wearing just shorts, t-shirt, no socks, no shoes.
What's the temperature?
Well, you're getting very specific, but I don't know. It's probably mid-80s.
What time of day?
It was probably around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. On a summer evening afternoon. So I get up about eye level with my gutter. I don't know how to get on the roof. Do I go off to the left? Do I go straight up? And if I do that, will I kick the ladder out behind me before I can seek purchase? So I end up chickening out. I climb back down the ladder. I hang the ladder back up in my garage. Now I'm ruining every credit card that I have or license in my wallet trying to break into this interior garage door. It's not working. I'm just destroying every card. At least I know my garage door is, impenetrable.
Yeah. Ooh, backwards.
Yeah, and so I kind of start shouldering into my door. At this point, now the beeper is going off, letting me know the pizza is done, and I'm envisioning my house filling up with smoke from this burning pizza.
Tragic.
So I'm slamming my shoulder into the door, I'll just replace the door jamb at this point. I don't care. That wasn't working. I probably wasn't giving it all of my force.
He was.
So I finally say, all right, I have no choice. I get the ladder out again, I put it up.
Second time.
I climb up the ladder, and I decide I'm just going to go straight up. I run up as fast as I can and dive, and I sprawl out on this little half-roof area. And
I can picture it.
Yes, and my bathroom window is directly in front of me. However, my bedroom window is about 3 to 5 feet to my left. So
Burglars
I have
take
to
note?
shimmy myself along the roof. I actually had a bloody and scratched up leg because I was so petrified and scared. Oh, and let me mention, I have a flathead screwdriver in my pocket because I know that's the only way to get my screen out. So I finally get to the window. I pry the screen out. I chuck it. It lands in the tree in my front yard. So now I have my screen in the tree. I'm thinking anybody in my neighborhood that sees this is having the best time of their life.
For sure.
I crawled into my house and my pizza was salvageable and I did eat it. But yeah, so that's how bad my fear of heights is.
Roofs are scary because the angle is all wrong.
Yeah, but if you set that, here's what I always think to myself, like rationally when I'm not on the roof, is if you took that roof off and put it on the ground, I would do cartwheels on it. Because I'm not worried about falling that 10 feet to the ground. It's just that distance.
That made no sense to me, but...
well, imagine shearing the roof off of your house.
Done it many times.
And then just setting it on top of the ground. Now you can't... If you fall, you're just going to roll off the roof and land softly on the ground. You're not going to fall off the roof.
You're saying the angle wouldn't bother you if it wasn't so high off the ground.
Right. You wouldn't have an issue with it if you weren't afraid that there would be a drop.
Right. But the point is... You're a little scared, so now you're a little shaky. So now the fact that you're a little shaky makes you go, I don't trust myself on this angle.
Exactly.
So we're similar in sports, and we're similar in fears.
Okay, all right. This is everybody's getting to hear. Dave and I get to know these personal things.
Expose our weaknesses.
What are we exposing?
Our weaknesses.
Okay, good. Weakness. All right, good, because we're on Skype, and I want to make sure that all we're exposing is weaknesses here.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Don't you worry, buddy.
All right, we're not going to talk about a ton more because we want to keep this at a decent time. I do want to mention, have you watched, last night Carrie Ann and I were watching that Motley Crue, is it a biopic or a biopic?
Biopic. You mean the very beautiful Carrie Ann, as you described her last week?
Yes.
We were watching. Did she like her description?
Yes, she did.
Okay,
she did.
All right. Good.
What woman does not like to be called beautiful?
Yeah.
Right. But we were watching Dirt, that movie that came out on Netflix, which is Motley Crue. Have you seen that?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. It made me think of it because last night I know you were watching Gone Girl with Ryan, your son.
Yeah, we were watching the commentary track. Because we'd already seen it. I love David Fincher because he's just had so many great movies, including like Fight Club and Zodiac and Seven, The Game. Just great.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
That was from Seven. Very good.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
I was telling them, not you, obviously. You were doing it. Social Network, he did.
What's the second rule of Fight Club?
You don't talk about Fight Club.
No, that's the first rule, Dave.
That's also the second, isn't it?
Okay, maybe it is. I was trying to stump you.
No.
Go ahead and buzz me.
They're all, aren't they all that you don't talk about Fight Club? All the rules.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah.
His name
that was one of the rules.
Robert Paulson.
Okay.
Yes, poor Meatloaf.
I love Meatloaf was awesome in that though.
Yeah,
he was fantastic. And watch the commentary track on that is amazing.
Really?
Yeah, because they just give you all kind of insight into what was going on. And then David Fincher's also done The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was really
good movie.
Really fun. Do you have a dragon tattoo? No.
I do not have a dragon tattoo, and thank you for noticing.
Okay.
But yeah, this Dirt movie, I'm just going to say,
I haven't seen all of your tattoos.
That's okay. Most of them are visible, even while I'm dressed, as long as I'm not wearing...
Unlike the college you teach at.
Yes, the college, that's right. Call back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dirt, it's not a bad watch. I've seen a lot of people on social media that have praised it and said how good it is. I think they did a really good job recreating the characters, but it's got a really weird format, the way that there's this narration that constantly jumps from one band member to the other. And unfortunately, the actors, their voices are not distinct enough that you always know who's narrating, especially if you can see two or three of them in the room at the same time. So, yeah, it was...
Who'd you say, Motley Crue? Is that who it is?
Yeah, and I will say I did not realize, I listened to Motley Crue, but, I did not realize that in their heyday, like the early days, that they were all about like pentagrams and
Cute.
Stuff like that.
Evil.
Yes, evil. I do not recall that at all, but it was a good movie, but I was not as blown away by it as some of the people that I've seen posting about it on social media. So I apologize if you are a huge Dirt lover. The movie.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah, it's
you know who's a Dirt lover is Beto O'Rourke.
Oh, was that a politician?
He's running for president.
Oh, okay. Well,
He supposedly eats dirt. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it's true. Yeah.
okay, that's
He
weird.
thinks it helps cleanse you. It just seemed
Okay.
appropriate. It seemed appropriate when you said a dirt lover. That's who came to mind.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. That's definitely a different platform to run on.
I don't know that it's his platform, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're going to look it up as soon as we're done and realize that Dave is talking out of his butt.
no. I just was either misinformed or I wasn't misinformed.
That's okay. We are, pushing some time here. Real quick, though, before we wrap up, I do want to talk about one little weird news story that I read.
Please do.
About a guy who he didn't want to go to work at his job. I don't remember where he worked. It was like a 7-Eleven or fast food joint. It was nothing,
Interesting.
crazy intimidating to have to go into work, and he called 911 and claimed that he was robbed and that they had stolen his phone and his jewelry, which would lead one to believe, how did he call 911 if his phone had been stolen? And the cop showed up to realize that it was obviously a fake 911 call. And all this just to get out of going to work that day. I mean, that seems like a really long way to go to
Yeah.
get out of work.
That's
It's
like
really
when you-
stupid.
It's like when you pull the fire alarm at school and then you're outside and you see the fire trucks come and all this commotion. You're like, I just wanted to skip class. I didn't mean to cause all this.
Right. But yeah, it's really stupid to say they stole my phone, and yet I'm calling 911. Have you ever come up with weird excuses to get out of anything? Have you ever been, like, as a kid, busted, like, just telling a stupid excuse that is just, in hindsight, dumb?
Well, I skipped school once, and the plan was to say that I thought it was Saturday, but it turned out that it was Saturday. What's the craziest thing?
I'm going to tell you something.
Go
I
ahead.
got caught, and I didn't do it. This was in my algebra class in high school. My friend and drummer at the time, I'm going to call him out on this, Todd Krieger. So he sat in the back row, and I was directly in front of him. So we were both kind of at the back of the class. Well, apparently on the way to the bus or whatever that morning, Todd claims, I don't know if this is what happened, that he found a Playboy. And he taps me on the shoulder, and he says, "Hey, give me your folder." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Give me your folder." So I kind of hand him my folder, and our teacher's doing his, lesson at the time. So I kind of pass this folder back over my shoulder. Todd slips the Playboy inside of it.
boy.
Yeah. And then he hands it back over my shoulder. Before I can even open the folder to see what is inside, the teacher sees the passing of the folder and says, "Jeff, bring that to me now." Yes, so I get busted with a Playboy in my folder that I didn't even get to look at the cover,
Are you sure this is?
let alone the inside.
Are you sure?
Am I sure what?
Are you sure this isn't a movie you saw? This sounds a bit like an '80s plot.
I am 100% absolutely positive this was not a dream, not a movie. I remember the detention, so yeah.
Oh, did your friend
Yeah.
get detention too?
No, because it was in my folder.
Jeff.
So
How does that
yeah,
happen?
so talk about getting busted.
And you didn't get to see anything.
I didn't even get to see the cover. Don't even know what was going on.
Probably for the better.
But, anyway, so whoever this guy was, he was an idiot. I hope if anyone
was
out
the
there
teacher like, "Oh, this This is disgusting. Let me
This
see
is
what's on
awful.
the next. Let me see what's on the next page. Yep, still bad.
Well,
Page 12 is just as bad as page 11. Let's get on to 13.
Even worse, he was one of the assistant football coaches for the high school team that my brother played for, and my dad was good friends with all the coaches. So I knew immediately this was not something that I was, going to get away with.
Was this the guy you gave your belt to?
No, that was middle school.
Okay.
That was middle school. Yeah, this was in high school.
I still laugh at that one. Podcast number 2, if you're wondering.
Yeah. And you can keep the belt.
I just see you like thinking you're sticking it to the man. He's like, oh, thanks.
I really did. I really felt like this was like I'm just telling, because I didn't even take the belt out of the loops of the pants. It was like, you're going to have to do that yourself, buddy.
Was your dad like, where's the belt?
No, I don't. I think he was probably.
You'll be proud of me, Dad. I gave it away.
Oh boy, yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna, we're pushing some time here, and we want to keep this digestible for all of you. Big words doesn't count.
So is tonight Baldy's night?
Is tonight Baldy's?
Baldy's night, as opposed to last time it was Ladies' night. To pick the song.
So you're saying I get to pick. So you're just calling me Baldy.
Yeah, because you
with
called
my
me
shameless plugs.
You called me a lady.
That's true. I did.
Yeah.
All out of love, Dave. All out of love.
Yeah. I love your baldness.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to pick a song, and I'm going to pick a song for you,
You said
Dave,
the same thing twice.
I know I did. I was reiterating.
Okay, all right. Oh, big words.
Yep. But I know one of the songs that you really like on the album, and you've had people that you know and have talked to that really like this song. And it's kind of a piano. I consider it almost like modern Lionel Richie R&B-ish kind of feel. You might not think so when you hear it, but it's called Ready, Set, Go.
Then this goes out to Mark Bortz, my friend, who
Yes.
likes this song the best.
There you go. So, Mark, we're going to give you some Ready, Set, Go to end the show.
Poetry.
Before we finish, I just want to remind everybody to go to jeffandclo.com. You'll find a link to order your Jef and Clo hat with 50% of the proceeds going to the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
So even if you don't like Buckeyes, it's going for cancer research and
Correct.
possibly fund a need, which is a great part of that, where we actually help families out that need assistance.
Right. And even more so, you're getting a Jef and Clo hat.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah, that's a reward in itself. I also want to point out
Sure is.
our album that we're going to be playing a song from, Jef and Clo, Another Stupid Joke, available on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube Music, pretty much every streaming channel you
Cassette.
can think of. We did not put this out on cassette, no.
Oh, okay, all right.
But Ready, Set, Go, I am contemplating a single.
Really?
No,
you're
not really.
I know.
No. And again, if anybody wants to be a sponsor or an advertiser on our show, where do they go, Dave?
They go to sales, not cells, SALES at jeffandclo.com.
And this is spelling. Speaking of which, really quick, I heard a radio advertisement for an online college. I don't remember exactly. Like at the very end, they said text. It was like a very basic word. I don't remember the word. I'm just going to say start. Okay, let's just use the word start. A very easy word. It said text start to this number. That's START. And I was thinking to myself, if you have to spell that word, do you really want these people in your online college? It was
for an online college, right?
Yeah, exactly. They spelled out like the most basic word, and I thought that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It wasn't like tumultuous.
I still wouldn't spell that out because I would want to make sure that I'm getting people that are willing to put in the effort.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah,
maybe we should start a college.
Okay, an invisible one.
A visible, but not invisible. But we'll come up with our own name.
Okay, we'll figure that out.
But first, we need to do the hair plugs.
Okay, the hair plugs commercial. Yes,
the shameless hair plugs.
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs for men.
coming to a CVS near you. CVS, if you want to advertise, where do they go, Dave?
Sales at jeffandclo.com. But you can't get plugs at a CVS.
Well,
that's like
ours
a surgical
are over-the-counter.
Over-the-counter plugs. That's solid quality there.
Self-installed.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
Can't imagine.
And just one last quick reminder, the podcast is available every Monday right now on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. We will be looking for new
lives,
digital channels. Again, if you are an Apple user and you're listening to this episode on Spotify or SoundCloud, you clearly did not follow instructions at the beginning of the episode. You will need to stop and start this episode over again on iTunes.
Because we're trying to get on the new and unusual. No, new and... What is
Noteworthy.
it? Noteworthy.
That's right.
Noteworthy.
So we hope you've all been taking your notes.
Yes.
Because the iTunes requires that people take notes in order to put us in that category.
Maybe it means musical note.
Very clever. Very clever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just a quick reminder, April 6th, Dave and I, Dave's going to be playing with Chris Logsdon at the Party for a Cure, supporting the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer at Coaches in Gahanna. I believe that's from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. I will be there again just as a guest, but if anyone wants to come and meet Jef and Clo in person, please come do so. And, you know, you've ever heard, like, thug life? Have you heard that, like, term, thug life?
Of course.
Okay, so based on Dave's story earlier, let's go ahead and try and get bus life trending. Hashtag bus life.
Hashtag bus life. I like it.
That's right. Anybody on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything, please hashtag bus life when you are referencing Jef and Clo.
Because if you have some bus life activity in your life, that's some pretty good cred / rep you got going on. Seriously, you're pretty bad. If you've been on a bus, props, I respect that. Yeah.
I think Eminem's new album is called Reclinin', with an apostrophe at the end.
Is it really?
No. It's called I've Got Knees Back Here.
Hey, I got knees. Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this up, Dave, and we're going to listen to Ready, Set, Go off of Another Stupid Joke. And, Dave, it's been another good time.
All right, Jeff.
All right, man. Well, we will talk to you next week, and everybody please go listen and share with all of your friends.
All right.
All right, Dave, we're going to wrap this up, and I'll talk to you next week, brother.
Later, man.
Love ya.
Love you too, Jeff. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll keep on waiting and waiting and waiting until you say, ready, set, go. I'll keep playing this song for you, baby, just making sure that you always know. And you know, waiting is life's way of teasing. But you know, baby, you make it so damn easy. That's why I'll keep waiting and waiting until you say, ready, set, go. In this world, the hardest part is finding out where you belong. It might take a million tries to find you're always wrong. And you know that nothing in this life comes free. If it's too good to be true, you probably know what you should do. Take it from me, I might not be the man that you need, but if you call me, I'll be right there. Until the phone is ringing, baby, I'll be waiting and waiting and waiting until you say, ready, set, go. I'll keep playing your song for you, baby, just making sure that you always know. And you know, waiting is life's way of teasing. But you know, baby, you make it so damn easy. That's why I'll keep waiting and waiting for sure. But the finest part of life is the mistakes we make, and learning how to bend before we break. Take it from me, I can stop all the things that I feel, but if you call me, I'll be right there. Until the phone is ringing, baby, I'll be waiting and waiting and waiting until you say, ready, set, go. I'll keep playing your song for you, baby, just making sure that you always know. And you know, waiting is life's way of teasing, but you know, baby, you make it so damn easy. That's why I'll keep waiting and waiting until you say, ready, set, go. Ready, set, go.
Brain freeze.